Hi, I'm Lou Scott, and this is the Geppetto Room, where you don't have to be creative to be creative. You just have to be you. Because here we're going to explore techniques, technologies, to make it easier for you to make creative, transformative decisions with Vermont needs. Decisions the way you live, the way you work, the way you play. Now today I'm going to do something different. Usually I talk about ideas, methodologies to help you make creative decisions. Or I'll talk about how the brain works to help you make creative decisions. But today I read a piece of research about achieving long-term goals, achieving them, how to do it, and the motivation to achieve those goals. And this piece of research was done by the leading psychologists, coaches, entrepreneurs, everybody in that particular field. So they're the best practices for them, and I want to share them with you. And they identify 7 strategies. Now, when I read the research, 2 things occurred to me. One was that how can we expect to make better decisions if we're frustrated or stressed or depressed about not achieving our long-term goals, our core goals, our values in life? And then the second thing that occurred to me is that many of these strategies, best practices by leading people, many of these strategies will help you in making better decisions, which we need in this state, better transformative, creative decisions. So with that, what I want to do is go over the 7 best practices, and I think that 7 strategies that I think will help you in achieving your long-term goals and even your short-term goals. Let's go to the first one. The first one they call connecting your long-term goals to your core values. Now, there are many core values. Let me give you some examples of them. A core value is something that you want to express yourself in your life. A core value could be compassion. You want to be compassionate in your own life. Everything you do, you want to have compassion for your fellow man. You want to do good. That's a core value. Another one is creativity. You want to be creative. You want to be involved in creative endeavors in all your life, and that's your core value. Another one is learning. You want to acquire knowledge for yourself and for your family and for other people. Another one is you want to be a leadership. You want to be a leader. You want to lead men. Another one is you want to be able to stability. And the last one is recognition. Now, these are not the only core values, but what they're saying is if you connect what you want to achieve to your core value, the more likely you are to achieve those things. Now, so these strategies not only will talk about first core value is if you establish yourself with your core values, you're going to be less frustrated achieving any kind of goals, because they're really what you want out of life. That's the first one. Connect what you want to your core values and identify them. The second one is an acronym, and they call WOOP, W-O-O-P. Now, let me tell you about that. This is a strategy to turn your dreams, things you think about, what you like to be, into reality. Now, we all suffer from the ideas of barriers, that we can't do this, that what we really want to achieve is immense, overwhelming, it's very frustrating, we can't make those decisions. Well, we all feel that, okay? And this WOOP, this concept of the strategy, might help you overcome that so you can get by this dreaming about things and actually make it reality. Make your dreams a reality. Now, let me tell you what WOOP means. The W in WOOP is the idea of what do you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve? What is your outcome? What do you really want? Be able to define it. Be able to feel it. Be able to describe it. What is it really? What is that dream? And the more personality you can give it, the more description you can give it, the better you will achieve it. The first O is outcome. What do you want to achieve? Now that you know what you want to achieve, you got to be able to describe it more. That's the O, the outcome. What is the outcome? And you work backwards, creating tasks to create that vacuum, to make that outcome a reality, not just a dream. The second O is obstructions. There are barriers. There are barriers to life. Life is full of barriers. And those barriers may stand in the way of our achieving your goals. And what you do is you want to be able to observe those barriers, look at them, and come up with ways to overcome them. They can be overcome. The last one, the P in WHOOP, is plan. You got to have a plan for life. Otherwise, you're going through life aimlessly. It's like taking a trip without a map or GPS. You wander around. You might arrive and you never know you arrived because you don't know where your direction is. You need a plan. And the plan is weigh the tasks you need to achieve your goals that are related to your values. Number 3, to break long-term goals into short tasks. What you have to do is, you look at a long-term goal, it's overwhelming. It can be too big. I can't do that. And you start to negate, you start to deny yourself the ability that you can do this. What you have to do is break it down into tasks, everyday tasks, reaching your outcome that are measurable, that are realistic, these tasks. Now, let me give you an example of it. You want to write a novel, big task. Really, where do you start? It's a big task, big stories, characters. How do you go about it? You just sit down and do it? No, you don't. You create tasks, and here's an example they gave in the research. You want to create a novel? Do 3 things. 1, take a day and spend just 30 minutes sitting down and writing an outline of the first chapter. Just an outline of the first chapter. Then, subsequent to that, you can take every day, or you can take a particular day, and what you want to do is be able to write 200 words. Just write 200 words. Stream of consciousness, just write them down. The third step is, what you want to be able to do is on a Sunday, say, every Sunday, or the Sundays that you determine. And what you do is you edit. Before you know it, if the weeks go by, using those 3 steps, simple steps, as weeks go by, you're going to have a novel. You're going to have characters. You're going to have stories. You have some of your editing. You've overcome this huge, huge task by breaking it up into little tasks. Here's number 4. Schedule your long-term goals and work on them every day. Work on them every day. These psychologists talk about what they call decision fatigue. When you're working on goals and you're working on anything, you're making a lot of decisions. This way, that way, I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And you get tired of doing it. You lose your motivation. And they call it fatigue, decision fatigue. You have to overcome that. You overcome that by sticking to your strategy, sticking to your dream, and breaking it up into tasks, and scheduling those tasks, okay? Now, here's something that they talk about, and I found this to be fascinating. Research shows that the first hour of your day, first hour upon getting up, is the most creative and the most productive. And what they advise you to do is before you have your coffee or take out your dog or whatever you want to do, what you want to be able to do is use that first hour to be creative. Use that first hour to plan your tasks. Use that first hour to believe in yourself. It's a very functional thing, functional task. Understand that first hour is what they call golden, and utilize it. First hour before you have your coffee and do everything else. Do it. Second thing they advise is plan for the next day. For example, if you want to run the Olympics, you want to run a marathon, okay, maybe the Olympics. And what you do, and every day you run a certain number of miles. Well, the night before you run the miles, picture where you're going to run, picture how you're going to run, and lay out your clothes. Lay out your clothes that you're going to wear. You can do that for a lot of different tasks. It's a task. What you're doing, you're scheduling the steps, the pathways to achieve your dreams. You need that. Let's talk about the 5th strategy. This is called what they call if-then strategies. You want to be able to avoid what they call urgent, what they call urgent things that come up. You get frustrated because you're doing your task to achieve your dream, and then you start to think about, well, I should do this, I should do that. I have this business commitment, I have this social commitment. And when you start to do that, you divert yourself from the tasks of achieving your goals. You make yourself frustrated and depressed. Don't do that. What they say is create an if-then strategy. Now, the if-then strategy is simply this. Here's an example. You're doing your task, and you know that you have emails coming in for your business. Well, instead of structuring and harboring this frustration about them, what you want to be able to do is say, okay, when he's come in, I'm going to set him aside. I'm not going to deal with them, and I'm going to set him aside at this particular hour. If another if-then, if my partner is showing up at a certain time, I'm going to explain to her or him that I'm not available, I'm doing these things, but I will be available, say it nicely, to a certain time. In other words, you've planned the strategy for the emergency, which seems to be urgent, and you eliminate this urgency bias. The urgency bias, which they call, can divert you from the tasks and more ultimately divert you from achieving your long-term goals or any goal. If-then strategy. Number six, when I first read it, seemed to be counterintuitive. We learned that to start a journey of a mile, you have to take the first step. Makes some sense. You got to take the first step to achieve a long journey or to achieve anything. They say that's not the way to think. That's not the creative way, nor the most productive way to do it. The way to do that is to think of the outcome and work backwards. Re-engineer. What is the outcome that you want to achieve? And then decide the steps. In this way, what they're telling you is you get away from the minutia, the messy middles, they call it, the messy middles. Eliminate that. Those are the extraneous things that are going to divert you from your outcome. Concentrate on your outcome and work on the steps backwards. Now, let me give you two personal examples of that. When I was in the Army, I was leading a platoon. And we were the 4th platoon. And periodically, mostly like every day, we'd go on these forced marches, these long marches. And then my men would bitch and complain about the steps, their feet, it's long, bitch all the time. And I used to say to them, forget about the minutia, forget about your feet and the hurting. Think about the outcome. What is that outcome? The barracks, a warm shower, good chow, a good night's sleep. That's the outcome. Work backwards. When you think of the outcome, it's easy. The task of walking was better, was easier for them, and they had less complaints. Another thing I did, what would happen is periodically we'd have to double time to group up the 4 platoons. Now, as a 4th platoon, we had to run 3 times as far as anybody else as the 1st platoon. So I set a goal. I said, you know what our goal is? Men, as we reach near the barracks, what we have to do is I want to run past the other 3 platoons. And that's what we did. As we reached close to the barracks, we ran through them. That goal gave this inspiration to our guys, gave them more strength. They would concentrate on this outcome, these goals. They got rid of all these little minutia things, and they're able to achieve it. From my own personal experience. Another personal experience. When I first got out of the Army, I was working in New York in a job that I really didn't like. One of my core goals was creativity. I wanted to be creative, and I used to pass a building, McGraw-Hill Publishing. And I used to look at the sign, and I said, one of these days, I want to go into publishing. I want to be creative. I want to generate creative things, and I did eventually. I eventually went into my own advertising business where I was very creative. But that gave me a goal. I used to use it as a symbol of an outcome. I wanted to be in publishing. I used to look at that sign. Focus on the outcome, eliminate the messy middles, and you will achieve your dreams. Here's the second one. Avoid perfection. There isn't any. You'll never have all the data to make decisions, and if you wait around for the data, I saw this before, you will be analysis paralysis. you will make no decisions. Not only not creative, no decisions. You have to make mistakes. You can't make a good decision unless you make some bad ones. You'll never have all the data. There's no such thing as perfection. Don't try to reach it, achieving your goals. Just try to take these steps and strategies in line to achieve your dream. Never forget your dream. Never forget it. But it's not going to be a perfect trip to achieve it. It just isn't. Now, because I think these strategies are important, let me summarize them so they kind of like you remember them better. Number one, determine your core value. Do you want to be creative? Do you want to be a leader? Do you want to have stability? Do you want to be whatever you want to be? Do you want to be compassionate? It can be a combination of those things, or it can be other things. But understand what your core value is. And you want to be able to connect that core value to your goals. The closer they are connected, the better chance you have of achieving your goals, your dreams. WOOP, the acronym, W-O-O-P. What do you want to achieve is the W. What do you want to achieve? O is the outcome. How do you picture it, feel it, dimensionalize it, take it to heart, understand it? WOOP. Obstacles, there are going to be obstacles. Nothing is smooth. Understand those obstacles and come up with ideas to overcome those obstacles. Don't ignore them because they'll overcome you. And the last of WOOP is the P, plan. Plan your tasks, plan your life. Your life will be better. You will achieve more if you have a plan. Goals. When we look at what we want to achieve, many times we see this immense problem. This problem that causes frustration, problem that keeps us from making good decisions, creative decisions, which we need. Problems. Understand what those problems are. Break them down into tasks. Break these goals into tasks, measurable tasks, meaningful tasks, things that are smaller. And as you accomplish them, you accomplish the big thing. Don't focus on the big thing. It could be overwhelming, and you'll lose your motivation. Schedule your work every day. Schedule it. Take that magic hour in the morning and utilize where you have the most productivity and the most creativity, and use the other time during the day to schedule the tasks that are going to lead you to your dreams. If-then strategy. Do not get involved with this urgency bias. Everything will get done if you plan it. What you don't want to do is have these other things interfere with the most important things. Schedule them. You'll get to them. Don't think about them while you're talking about the tasks of your dreams, and concentrate, and you'll get everything get done. Everything get done. If you confuse your mind with all these things, what you're going to be able to do is you won't be able to function efficiently, creating your ideas, creating your dreams, and getting to these things that are very important in your life. It won't happen. Schedule them. Start at the end. Keep the outcome in your mind. Keep the dream in your mind. Don't get involved in the messy middles and the details. Work backwards. Re-engineer. Create the steps that are going to focus on, get you to your outcome, your dream, your goal, the long-term and your short-term goals. And lastly, there's no perfection, folks. Don't look for it. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to trip. You're going to fall. But if you don't, you can't make good decisions, and your life won't be as complete as it can be. There's no perfection. Just do what you have to do. Ending, I like to get into more specific creativity. I've seen some things in Rutland that I'm very impressed with, and I want to make some comments. These are transformative things. I think they're ideas that I'm impressed with. One of which is the concept that Reddick and the Chamber of Commerce, which is now one organization, they're doing what's called We Are One. And it's an effort, it's an initiative to overcome the prejudice, the racism that are surrounding us. That is most important part of the news today. The racism, to overcome that. I think that is a transformative, the idea of getting together, focusing on it, for that the outcome, and creating tasks. I just have two ideas for those people if you are involved with that. And for those people who might be listening or looking at me, might be involved with. Don't make white another color, meaning, what is what I mean by that? We have a tendency to look at people that are not like us, okay? People of color. And they want to make them look like us. We want to create white. No. We all are Americans. We're all Americans, but we come with different cultures. We have to understand those cultures. And that's the second aspect, my tip for the people who are involved with this initiative. Learn about the cultures. Learn about the dress. Learn about how they live, what they eat. The more you know about other people, people of color, the more you can understand, and the more less likely you are to be racist, because knowledge is power. When we understand things, we have less of an opportunity. We have less of a chance to misinterpret, to misguide, to come up with information that's not true. And I think fear of not understanding, fear when you don't understand, is a very basic cause of racism. There are other causes, obviously, but I think that that's one of them, fear. So I'm telling the people, understand the culture, and don't make white another color. Don't make them like us. Let everybody be the same. We're all Americans, but we all have different cultures. Let's respect those cultures. The second thing that I was impressed with is what the Chaffee is going to be doing. The Chaffee is going to be assigning 40 artists. And we have a lot of artists in Rutland. 40 artists to paint benches that they're going to place around the city. They're going to paint the benches whatever they feel, the artist feels. Now, I think that's good for the vitality, for the vibe of downtown. We need that. That's going to effectively bring people, maybe open up more economic vitality. We need, art does that, especially this kind of art. You're going to have a very eclectic job. The idea that I would suggest to them is don't just place, after they've been done, don't just place them. Have an event. Let us all come to a place and see all 40. Meet the artists. Maybe have a contest. And this is the idea of the contest. Take the benches, put somebody on, a VIP or anybody, dressed in what that reflects what the art is. And we have a contest of the pictures. Do something, make it important before you start placing them all around the town. That'll bring attention to it, and it'll bring more advantages to the idea of this initiative, which I think is very innovative. Two things that are very innovative and I'm very impressed with. Let me just say about the pandemic. We're almost over. Guys, wear the masks. If a store says wear the mask, wear the mask. And most importantly of all these things, get vaccinated. Get it done. It's not dangerous. It's not going to kill you. Get the vaccination. Let's end this craziness. If we all do it, we're very close. We're going to end it and go back to what was normal, what we enjoyed. I say that. Now let me end with this. Because we talked about long-term goals and short-term goals, I want to repeat for you what George Eliot said. And let me read it and I'll repeat it again. I think it's important. It's never too late to be what you might have been. Listen to those words. It's never too late to be what you might have been. No matter how your age, what your condition, your economic situation, your job situation, it's never too late to be what you want, what you might have been. Meaning, simply, you can achieve your goals. You can achieve your goals, your dream, at any point in your life. At any point in your life, no matter where you are. Remember that. Don't give up. Keep the dream. Keep the outcome in focus. With that, I'm Lou Scott. This is the Geppetto Room, where you don't have to be creative to be creative. You just have to be you. Until next time, thank you.